I've made a lot of builds over my 3 years of online existence, and some of those have been, questionable. So we'll have 3 categories of builds. Weird is for the tamest of builds in this list. Spooky is for the builds that might make you feel a little creeped out. And finally, we have the controversial builds. Now you might think, what can be so controversial about a Minecraft build? Well, somehow I managed to get there and got in trouble for some of them too. Okay, starting off at the tamest of builds, we're in the weird category. So these builds are still going to be kind of, not your everyday Minecraft build. And starting off, we have my first build here, which is a couple of moon surfaces. Now, yeah, like I said, these are pretty tame, but definitely like, not your everyday Minecraft build. I don't think I've ever seen anyone make like something like this before. And here's what Miranda looks like in game. And basically all I did was just find a desert, and then I just used World Edit to replace all of the sand with calcite and diorite. So yeah, this one was pretty easy to make. And for the next one, we have Europa, or what's left of it, before I accidentally took a giant chunk out of it for a build that I never even finished. Next up, we have Titan, and yeah, for this one, similar to the desert, I just found a, whatever biome this is. I just replaced all of the blocks with smooth red sandstone and orange concrete. And then the final moon surface over here, we have Io. Once again, you get the idea, it's the same thing. Replaced a biome with these blocks, but instead this time I made like a man-made little lava channel that runs around this, because Io has a lot of lava on it or something. Alright, for this next one, we have, just my skin. Nothing too harmless here, until, you might want to brace yourself for this, but, yeah. Oh my god, I've not seen this in quite a while. Holy crap. So yeah, I decided to make my skin as realistic as I possibly could using Photoshop, and I feel like I did a pretty decent job of that. And yeah, if you're interested in seeing how I made this, I have a full video on my channel, so be sure to check that out. In the same vein of the realistic skin, we have a realistic base. Now this one's very cool. There's some areas where I definitely could have improved on. I mean, I spent so long on this build. But yeah, this area here definitely looks kind of out of place and weird, but yeah, once again, if you want to know how I made this, I have a video, so be sure to check that out. Okay, now guys, make sure your socks are pulled all the way up, because now we're entering the spooky zone. I'm making it sound a lot scarier than it actually is, but it really isn't that bad. All right, so first up, we're taking a look at my phobia build series. And this one is taking a look at thalassophobia, which is the fear of deep bodies of water. And yeah, so in each of these pictures, I just tried to showcase like, that fear, I guess. This one, we've got like a deep, dark drop off in the ocean. We've got this one where it's like me on a boat and it shows, the deep, dark abyss below. This one's just a giant gaping hole in the ocean floor, which is pretty creepy. This one probably creeps me out the most. And yeah, just a shipwreck with like a big foggy area around it looks kind of creepy. So the next phobia build is submechanophobia, which is the fear of partially or fully submerged man-made objects. I mean, I do feel this one a little bit. Just some pictures of it just creep me out, So this one, we've got like a flood shaft, and then over here we've got an oil rig, or like the underwater portion of the oil rig. We've got like a submerged subway tunnel entrance, and then over here is just this. I don't know what this is. And for the next phobia, we have xylophobia, the fear of forests. And this one's pretty simple. This one's all just taken from builds that I had already created, and I just kind of, set them to like nighttime and just made them look as creepy as I could. This one's pretty tame, to be honest. And then for the final fears build, we have thalassophobia the second. And this one is just a couple more ideas that I wanted to create. This one's actually based on the game Iron Lung as well. As you can see over here, we have like the interior of the submarine, and then over here is a big fish as well. And over here is actually another one based on it as well, where it's just like a giant carcass of an animal or something. And then we have like this ledge, another ledge. Okay, next up on the spooky list, we have some levels from the Backrooms. Now the first level you guys are probably very familiar with at this point. It's been plastered bloody everywhere. This one actually uses a custom resource pack as well to get that look down just like, exactly how I wanted it. Then the next level, we have the pool rooms, and this one once again uses a custom resource pack to get these nice tiles. And this one's basically just a giant world filled with pools. The next level is like a sewer system kind of thing. Over here you can see we have like this animal that's broken out, or some kind of thing, an entity or whatever has gone out. And then the final level, we have the infinite train. And yeah, this one's basically, well, what it is, it's an infinite train. Alright gamers, it is now time for the controversial section, the worst of the worst. And we're first going to be starting off with the tamest of the worst, if that makes any sense. Starting off here with Curse Builds, the first iteration. And I'm just going to... Oh, what the hell? Okay, that one did not make it into the final post. That definitely looks kind of weird. Oh my god. I completely forgot about this one. Jesus. All right, next up we have the mine entrance. Just give it a second if you can spot, you know, how many weird things are here that should not exist. All right, your time's up. Okay, so we've got this like weird freaking like curved area over here. We've got a curvy pathway as well. And then the last one, which you might not have actually spotted, is this. We have a horizontally placed fence here. All right, next up onto the pathway, we have, yeah, basically just a pathway. And it's got some nice curves. Next up, we have this. Yeah, this is definitely very weird. That's all I'm going to say about it. And now for the next one, we have this storage, which is basically some absolutely huge freaking chests, dude. Next up, we're onto Cursed Builds V2, starting off with the mini tree pot plant here. This one's definitely kind of weird looking. It took a long time as well masking out all of these leaves and stuff. Next, once again, we have a curvy kind of, you know, thing, except this time it isn't a pathway, it's actually a river. Then we have this absolutely cursed image of the nether here, where I replaced all of the lava with water. It actually looks kind of cool. I really like the blue and the red. And then for the final build in our Cursed Builds 2, we have this one, which is probably the most cursed one I have made. And definitely took a very long time to do as well. As you can see, yeah, we have a diagonal wall here with diagonally placed blocks on top of that. Next up, we have Cursed Builds V3. Yeah, there's a lot of Cursed Builds that I made. I had a lot of fun making these. As you can see here, we first have our big furnace. Next up, we have a slope in Minecraft. Yeah, this one is very strange. Next, we have too many torches. Yeah, there is way too many torches in this small of an area. And then for the final build in our Cursed Builds 3, we have this one, which is another spin on my angled wall, except this time it is curved. And now it's on to Cursed Builds 4, the last iteration of my Cursed Builds, starting off here with the big chest. Then next up, we have the Hydra sheep. Oh my god, dude, this is so stupid. Next up, we have the half-stripped spruce, which is, yeah, you know, a regular block, except it's half stripped and half regular. And now for the final Cursed Build in the Cursed Build series, we have this wheat field. Okay, gamers, now brace yourself. We're getting into the final builds. These are the most controversial ones I've ever made. Now, this first one isn't too bad, but I mean, it's still kind of weird. Yeah, it's a villager torture chamber. I still can't believe I made this. I mean, not that I wouldn't make it again. It's definitely just a really weird idea that I had for this build. And yeah, so that torture chamber was actually for this build here, which is a villager trading hall, which also has a full tutorial video on my channel. Once again, check it out in the description if you want to build it. And there was a whole skit in the video where basically if a villager comes down with a trade that you don't like, you can open up the trapdoor and send them down into the torture chamber down below. Now, just going through here, we can take a step into the torture chamber. Dude, I can't believe I made this, man. We've got suspended cages here with villagers in them. We've got a freaking stretching rack where you'd put someone on here and you'd crank this wheel and stretch the hell out of them. We've got this absolute freaking masterpiece over here. I'll let you take a second to guess what this would do. On the pillars of the walls, we've got all kinds of torture devices. We've got a stick, a sword, and then we've got shears, and yeah. We've also got a drain here to drain all of the, you know, excess fluids. We've got waterboarding buckets of water for, you know, waterboarding. Over here, we have like the thing where you'd hang someone up and like hang them up by their arms. And then finally, we have some upside down villagers on some meat hooks. Definitely a very weird and controversial kind of build. Okay, and now we're getting into the builds that actually got me in trouble on Instagram. I posted these builds and they actually got removed and my account got like a warning on it. It was kind of scary at the time, even though my Instagram account is now completely gone. But yeah, you know, starting off, we have, okay, we have weed farms. Kind of a stupid thing to build, I know, but yeah, it was just, I don't know. People on Instagram like this thing. I honestly, I kind of like building it too, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, we have the backyard weed farm here. As you can see, we've used ferns and small ferns to make, you know, the plant. And that's the reoccurring theme through all of these. We have 4 of these in total. So next up, we have the field. This one looks kind of cool. It's like, you know, big fields. Onto the next one, we have the hydroponic farm. This is definitely my favorite one. You know, it's indoors. We got like the classic freaking fluorescent lights in the ceiling. We've got like shelves with all of them as well. And then we have a whole bunch of them with like some water beside them. Oh, oopsie daisy. Yeah, with water beside them as well. Kind of cool. And then we have the final one, which is kind of a cop-out because I thought for hours and hours of a 4th build, and this was the best I could come up with. It's just, you know, naturally occurring chuff plants, you know? Okay, and now it's on to the absolute worst build I've ever made. It's the most controversial one. You may have seen it. It still gets reposted today, surprisingly. And yeah, it's more drug farms. Yeah, this was another build that once again got me in trouble with Instagram. Yeah, I was definitely pushing the limit over there. So once again, weed has made another appearance here. We have a bit more of a basic farm. This was the first one that I actually made. Then it's onto the cocaine farm. This is actually how they farm the coca plants. They have it like, you know, laid out in rows or whatever. We also added in some like little wheelbarrows. We have this big build at the back as well, where they've kind of like accumulated it into piles. Then we're getting into the more serious stuff. We have the meth, you know, the RV, the classic Breaking Bad RV, where we've got, you know, the beakers and stuff. I don't know what half of these are supposed to be. These sea pickles, I don't know. They're like just stuff that you put stuff in, you know, like beakers and whatever. And then the final one, we have the opium farm. So if you don't know, opium actually comes from poppies. And so, yeah, I basically just made a giant field of poppies, surrounded it with fences, some leaves, and some pathways as well. And at the back here, we just have like a whole bunch of storage and wheelbarrows and stuff. So yeah, that pretty much does it for all my controversial builds. Hopefully this video doesn't get demonetized. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.